To add to the summer excitement overflowing with blockbusters, Anime Rush is bringing you the most explosive masterpiece of the season, Tougen Anki, Demon of the Peach Clan. This is where the cycle of hatred between those who consider themselves righteous, the Momotaro, clashes with the demons, also known as Oni. But are the Momotaro truly righteous? And just how dangerous are the demons? Let's dive in with Anime Rush and find out. The story begins many years ago on a bloody and stormy day. Tsuyoshi, a member of the Momotaro organization, is attempting to protect a child with demon blood after a fierce battle. His comrade desperately warns him that his decision will become a nightmare. For since ancient times, the demons have been incredibly brutal, destroying everything in their path and instilling fear in all of humanity. However, there's one thing in this world that can hold them back: those with the blood of Momotaro. They ascended Demon Gate Island and annihilated countless demons. Since then, demons and the Momotaro organization have existed as two opposing forces, annihilating each other for their own ideals. Despite knowing and having fought many demons, Tsuyoshi believes the child in his arms is innocent, and he's convinced saving him is the right choice. Many years later, the child Tsuyoshi saved has grown into a big boy named Shiki. Instead of being a diligent student, this kid is a real delinquent. He's been expelled, but he finds it hilarious. All he does is fight and play with water guns. News of his expulsion reaches his adoptive father, Tsuyoshi. He immediately goes to Shiki's room to educate his unruly son. Even after getting hit, Shiki just shrugs. "So what if I got expelled? Why are you so worried, Dad?" His dad gets furious and lunges at him, but Shiki is quick and dodges. However, Tsuyoshi notices something strange. "Son, why is your room full of hot goods? Our family sells beer and liquor, not water guns for fish shooting games." Shiki replies, "It's none of your business. Don't worry about it, but I heard you just lost an order, right? How pathetic, old man." He confidently declares he won't end up like him. His old man retorts, "You, a kid who got expelled, talking big to whom?" Shiki feels a bit humiliated, then says, "It's a good thing we're not blood related." Seriously? How could he say that after his dad saved and raised him? This is peak rebellious age, disrespecting everyone. His dad is at his wit's end, utterly helpless with his good-for-nothing son, and turns to leave. A moment later, he gets a call from someone who wants a few cases of Hanoi beer delivered. His dad is overjoyed and immediately prepares to leave. Lounging upstairs, Shiki, feeling smug, thinks, "Since I was picked up anyway, why didn't I fall into a rich family's hands?" Just then, an explosion rocks the air, and smoke billows everywhere. Shiki is confused when something black wraps around his leg and drags him down to the street. It turns out to be that old man, Tsuyoshi's former subordinate. He looks at Shiki and asks, "Are you Shiki?" Suddenly, Shiki's father returns and rams his car straight into the old man. He quickly tells Shiki to shut up and get in the car to escape. His dad knows they've been discovered and plans to take his adopted son abroad to start a new life. Meanwhile, Shiki is worried his dad just ran over that old man, surely killing him, but his dad reassures him, "He won't die, don't worry." At this point, Tsuyoshi stops hiding the truth, because Shiki isn't a child anymore and deserves to know his true identity. Tsuyoshi tells Shiki that demon blood flows within him, and the old man earlier possessed Momotaro blood. Shiki is shocked, thinking, is the old man joking? But at that exact moment, the Momotaro has caught up to them. Black tendrils cover the car, rendering it immobile, forcing the father and son out before the car explodes. The explosion leaves Tsuyoshi disoriented, and Shiki is captured. The old man chains Shiki with the black tendrils, claiming that those with demon blood like him need to be eliminated. Shiki is utterly confused. How did this old man survive getting hit by a car? At this point, Shiki's father steps in and tells Shiki that the legend of the war between demons and the Momotaro organization is real. To this day, both sides are still fighting tooth and nail. The Momotaro grew stronger, forcing demons to hide among humans to survive. Shiki, being a blockhead, doesn't understand what his dad is talking about. But Tsuyoshi doesn't care. He tells Shiki, "It's good that you're chained up. Just stay there and listen to the adults talk." Then, the two former comrades begin to fight. The Momotaro old man attacks with twin swords, while Tsuyoshi quickly uses a single blade to block. Despite his disheveled appearance, Tsuyoshi is quite strong. Being a former Momotaro member, that black mist is a special manifestation of those with Momotaro blood. The old man greets his former leader by a familiar name, but Tsuyoshi doesn't want to hear it. Shiki, watching his dad fight from above, is surprised to learn his father was a Momotaro member. The white-haired old man says, "Whether you change your name or not, the fact that you were a Momotaro member is undeniable. And more than anyone, you should know the danger of demons." He adds that the day Tsuyoshi decided to save and shelter that child, He was already given a death sentence by the Momotaro organization. Tisk, like I care. Tsuyoshi retorts, if you're so good, come on and try to take me down. And so, the two former comrades resume their intense battle. They fight back and forth, seemingly evenly matched. Powerful slashes from the twin swords are all parried by Tsuyoshi, who constantly counterattacks. The white-haired old man doesn't understand why his former leader would suffer so much, sacrificing everything to protect a demon. Tsuyoshi tells him, what do you know? Shut your damn mouth. He lunges to attack, but the old man uses a teleportation-like ability to deftly dodge, then delivers two sword slashes that knock Tsuyoshi down immediately. Shiki, seeing his dad slowly dying before his eyes, starts to go berserk. The white-haired old man scoffs. There's no way Tsuyoshi could defeat someone who's trained relentlessly for so long like me. However, Tsuyoshi, still barely alive, grabs the old man's leg. The old man doesn't understand why his former leader is still struggling when he's about to die. But Tsuyoshi says, how could you understand a father like me? Shiki is my precious son. And even if I die, I will protect him. Tsuyoshi believes that even a child with demon blood doesn't deserve to be killed. The white-haired old man tells him to shut up and prepares to finish Tsuyoshi off. At this moment, Shiki, still chained, can no longer remain calm. In his mind, he's desperate. Why am I so useless? Just standing here watching? My old man is dying. This anger unknowingly awakens the demon blood within Shiki. He vows to kill that man and save his dad. The urge to kill grows stronger and stronger. He awakens his demon blood power, breaks free from his chains, and attacks the Momotaro. But the old man is no slouch and blocks all his attacks. When the old man realizes it, Shiki has already transformed into a demon, not giving him a moment to breathe. Shiki attacks frantically, but his technique is too crude. Just a simple charge. So, against a seasoned fighter, the old man easily blocks and tears off one of Shiki's arms. But the demon blood power quickly regenerates the arm. What makes a demon terrifying isn't their ability to control blood, but their berserk state, where they go insane and destroy everything. Shiki is indeed going wild now. His blood transforms into various heavy weapons, specialized in delivering democracy. The old man tries his best to defend, but how can two swords block rockets? He's terrified by the destructive power and turns to run away. Shiki, even more enraged, continuously fires. The old man is tough and tries to attack Shiki, but the hits don't seem to faze Shiki, who rushes forward and kicks the old man's face. The old man is quickly stomped on by Shiki, who unleashes a chaotic barrage, destroying everything in front of him. But the old man is still not dead. Meanwhile, Shiki's demon power gradually fades as he regains control of himself. The old man tries to seize the opportunity to eliminate the threat. But Shiki's father manages to block the sword in time and delivers a fatal blow to the white-haired old man. The old man asks his former leader, even after seeing that demon just now, you still want to protect it? Tsuyoshi replies that he was very happy. The explosion at the warehouse draws people's attention, so the white-haired old man quickly leaves, leaving Shiki and his father to have a heart-to-heart. His dad says, in my final moments, let me talk to my son in peace. He apologizes for not telling Shiki all this time. But as a father, how could he tell his son that he's a demon and will be hunted? He can no longer be with Shiki, so he wants Shiki to be strong. Strong enough not to lose to anyone in Momotaro, and strong enough to control the demon within himself. Only then can he protect his happiness. But stubborn Shiki explodes, saying he doesn't want to hear it. Don't just lie down like that. Old man, we still have to live together as father and son. At this moment, his dad smiles contentedly. He wishes that demons in Momotaro could walk shoulder to shoulder like this. Then, Tsuyoshi collapses in his son's arms. Shiki is full of regret, apologizing for the harsh words he spoke to his dad. He screams for his dad to wake up and yell at him again. But this time, it's hard. Shiki, no one will yell at you anymore. Late tears fall. Game over. Suddenly, a man appears and knocks Shiki out. On the Momotaro side, the white-haired old man, Samadare, is being reprimanded for acting on his own and failing. But what can be done? The Momotaro's rule is that civilians must not witness their power. Shiki is tied up by the man in an unknown location. The man talks to a stranger, who introduces himself as the director. He's very pleased that there are so many promising candidates this year. He adds that this Naito hasn't let anyone pass the selection round for years. But now someone has passed, which is rare, surely a super talent. He has high hopes for this year's batch. After being knocked unconscious and abducted by Naito, Shiki finds himself dreaming of his father's fierce battle with a Momotaro and his eventual demise by a fatal sword strike. He jolts awake, realizing it wasn't a dream at all. His old man was indeed murdered by a Momotaro member. Beside him, Naito is casually doing one-handed push-ups, having apparently done around 1,300 of them. Naito says he didn't want to wake Shiki up, as there's no point talking to someone whose mind is still foggy. His style is pretty rigid, he hates inefficiency. While Shiki's still confused about what's going on, Naito introduces himself as a demon. Just like Shiki, he advises Shiki not to waste time thinking about his father, as he's already dead, and his body is being preserved. The purpose of bringing Shiki here is to test him and gather information. With that, Naito slides away, pulling the whiteboard along. He hates how slow it is to walk barefoot. Shiki's mouth is gagged, so he can't curse at Naito and just has to listen. Naito informs Shiki that those with special bodies who can use the Black Mist are members of the Momotaro organization. Or more accurately, those who inherit the bloodline of Momotaro. They are an organization dedicated to eradicating demons, meaning people like Naito and Shiki. So, to counter the Momotaro, demons have also formed their own organization. Naito's mission is to find fellow demons and test if they have suitable talents. Naito puts the whiteboard away, ending his presentation, then unlocks Shiki's mouth for questions and answers. Just as expected, the moment his mouth is free, Shiki starts yelling his head off. He screams, "Naito, you bastard, what did you do to my dad? If you touched him, I'll kill you." Naito doesn't even bat an eye, calmly deducting 1 point from Shiki. Naito already said the old man's body was preserved, so why be so brainless? Shiki stubbornly continues to curse at Naito. Naito feels like this kid is beyond saving and continuously deducts points from Shiki. After a while, Shiki realizes he needs to calm down or he won't get anywhere. He takes a deep breath and asks Naito about the test, adding, "Can we just get this over with quickly? Ungag me so I can go avenge my father." Naito looks at Shiki and thinks, this kid is hopeless. I'll have to test him using a different method. With that, Naito approaches and uses his tie to choke Shiki until he can't breathe. Naito believes a person's true nature is revealed when they're on the verge of death. Shiki struggles desperately, blood starting to gush, but he seems to lose consciousness. Just then, Shiki's blood begins to transform into arrows, attacking Naito. Though Naito dodges the attack immediately, Shiki closes in incredibly fast, aiming at Naito's head and saying, "Your daddy's got 6 barrels. Got it?" Naito realizes this kid Shiki is starting to go berserk. Simultaneously, Shiki fires cannon after cannon at Naito's face. However, Naito easily blocks all the projectiles without a single scratch. Naito figures that since Shiki is going berserk, he probably doesn't know how to use his demon blood. Naito bluntly deducts 100 points from Shiki. But while he's at it, Naito also wants to show this brat what true demon blood power is like. The thing is, Shiki is in a berserk state, so he won't remember anything after he calms down. Not to mention, if Naito loses focus for even a moment, the demon will finish him off. But Naito is never caught off guard. It's unclear how intense the fight was, but currently, Shiki is on the floor, and Naito is perfectly fine, though the room is wrecked from the aftermath of their battle. Naito says the demon blood within Shiki is too strong and very difficult to control. But Naito has been explaining all this time, and Shiki still doesn't get it. He asks, "Don't you have demon power too?" However, these two powers are different. Naito's power comes from awakening his demon blood and controlling it. What Shiki has been displaying is a berserk state, but Shiki's brain just can't comprehend it. He still doesn't understand the problem. Naito then frankly announces, "You're out. I can't handle a stubborn, untrainable idiot like you." Shiki, lying on the ground, gradually senses Naito's terrifying power. Then, Shiki sits up and says, "Although I hate to admit it, you're really strong, and I've decided to follow you." Shiki wants to get stronger to avenge his old man, but Naito doesn't care. He refuses, saying that brainless fighters like him usually die young. The more Naito talks, the angrier Shiki gets. He's humbled himself, yet he's still rejected. The situation worsens when Naito says he'll eliminate a berserk individual who can't control their actions. Naito cuts his fingers slightly, enough to release his demon blood. The blood quickly forms an umbrella in Naito's hand. Shiki observes carefully, noticing something and beginning to experiment. Shiki runs quickly, then rubs his hands on the floor before lunging at Naito. Naito quickly transforms his umbrella into a shield with super sharp spikes. Naito then starts considering Shiki's possible attack options. 1. Just blindly charge in. 2. Slide in and aim for the legs. 3. Jump into the air and attack. 4. Fake an attack and run away. While Naito is thinking, Shiki has already jumped. He even uses the spikes to jump higher. Even so, Naito only considers it a third option. But Shiki has controlled his demon blood power, transforming his blood into a gun, ready to put Naito in his grave. But you can't defeat Naito that easily. He catches Shiki's attack with incredible ease. On the other side, after that move, Shiki falls into a berserk state again. Naito regrets that this kid is still unusable. He unleashes his overwhelming power, preparing to send Shiki to his final resting place. Naito's demon blood power is called Vagrant Reincarnation, forming a formidable army ready to finish off Shiki. But surprisingly, Shiki's will pushes back the berserk state, and then he's delighted but exhausted. Falling back down, Naito looks at this scene and has a different view of Shiki. Not only has he controlled his demon blood power, but he has also restrained his berserk state. Naito doesn't think it was a fluke and asks Shiki how he did it. Shiki says Naito has to accept him as his subordinate first, but Naito doesn't care, so Shiki has to confess. Shiki tells Naito that he thought about how to control his demon blood, and when he saw Naito cut his finger and use his blood to create an umbrella, Shiki guessed that he could do it, and all he needed to do was think of the shape of the weapon that would appear. Naito is surprised that this idiot, who can't control his emotions, can control his blood, because usually, when fighting, emotions run high, and reason tells the brain to calm down and only use a certain amount of blood to fight. That way, you won't lose control and go berserk. But Shiki does things differently. When his emotions explode, the mad dog inside him tries to suppress his emotions from controlling him. Not only that, but the demon blood power is also beaten mercilessly by his mad dog, and forced to operate according to its will. In short, Shiki doesn't control it with reason but with his instinctive, emotional nature. According to Naito, it looks crazy, but when his power erupts, it's absolutely explosive. As Naito hesitates, wondering what to do with this problem child, Shiki boldly declares that to get stronger, he will learn everything and obey Naito. So he hopes Naito will accept him. However, Naito's decision is to refuse. Because Naito thinks, what if Shiki can't maintain his true self? Every battle requires careful planning, not having to restart from scratch every time you make a mistake. He steps forward and thrusts his umbrella, nearly piercing Shiki's head, but it's just a scare. Naito says he won't accept Shiki as his subordinate, but Shiki will be his student. Although it was close, he passed. Shiki is confused. Student? Passed? What the heck is that? Sensei, can I eat it? So Naito starts explaining in detail to Shiki. He says this place is an island far from the mainland called Onigashima, Demon Gate Island. And in the center of the island is a school for demons called Rasetsu Academy. This school is different from other schools in that the students here are trained to deal with the Momotaro. There, they will be trained in how to use demon blood and various tactics. On the other hand, there will still be a general education curriculum. And Naito also introduces himself as Shiki's homeroom teacher. So much information floods into Shiki's head that he's almost going crazy. Naito says, if your brain is the size of a grape, that's what happens. Can't help you there. However, Shiki is quite determined, thinking that by studying here, he will gain the power to avenge his father. Naito doesn't deny that Shiki can get stronger by studying here, but everything depends on Shiki's effort and ability. However, if he can't keep up, he'll be expelled. Shiki's blood boils, and he declares, bring it on, sensei, I can handle anything. Later, while changing, Shiki notices his horn, but he figures he'll learn how to hide it while studying. Naito also tells Shiki that, currently, Shiki is the lowest ranked student in the class. One more thing. His father's body is being preserved, so Shiki can decide how to bury him. Naito also reminds Shiki not to drown himself in hatred and despair. Instead, he should use it as motivation and make himself stronger than anyone. While Shiki is feeling down, his teacher quickly runs to class and tells him he has 15 seconds. Or he'll be expelled. Running desperately, he's thinking about how to enter the classroom coolly. When his teacher kicks him straight into the room, he's got a nosebleed, but he quickly greets his classmates. However, with his habit of annoying others, he seems to be making enemies with his classmates. Each person has their own personality. Some are shy, some are serious, some are thugs, and some are brainless, just like Shiki. But Shiki starts thinking these guys are all crazy. He immediately clashes with the guy wearing the mask because of his contemptuous attitude. Then, Naito appears, silencing the two troublemakers, but Naito's face is also irritated. He says that instead of a school tour, they're changing plans today. The students are too rowdy, so they'll have to play a game of demon tag. The teacher takes the whole class to a place far from the school and gives the class 1 hour to return to school. If anyone is caught by him, they will be subdued on the spot. When everyone is caught, the game ends, but specifically, anyone who doesn't make it to the finish line will be expelled immediately. Shiki asks, are you crazy, sensei? We just started school. Naito says, don't think this is a normal school. After graduating, you'll have to face the Momotaro on the front lines. And the possibility of sacrifice is very high. So everything here is serious. Naito adds that he won't use his blood power, but the students can use theirs. However, if anyone loses control, Naito will use his blood. But the guy wearing the mask threatens the teacher, saying that if he doesn't use his blood power, he might get taken down. Naito isn't intimidated. He says, "Feel free to try. If you win, you'll graduate immediately and be placed on the team you want." Shiki is excited, thinking he could go fight that guy. But he knows it won't be that easy to defeat the teacher. But if it's a challenge, then he's serious about accepting it. After Naito's presentation, the entire class finally understands the stakes. If they don't want to get expelled or die on the battlefield later, they need to take their training seriously. But before they start, there's one more crucial item needed to reach the finish line: a ball. Without it in hand, crossing the finish line means nothing. But there are 7 students in the class. So why are there only 2 balls? Naito explains that due to the large number of students, they'll have to split into teams. Naito immediately throws both balls into the game area and starts forming teams. Shiki, Homare, and Jin will be in Team 1. Suddenly, the 2 guys who just hated each other's guts are forced onto the same team. It's quite similar to the rivalry between Sasuke and Naruto. But now they're stuck with a pink-haired girl in the middle. Team 2 will consist of Akari and Juji, and finally, Team 3 will have Rokuro, the black and white immovable, and the blonde girl, Queen. Teams 2 and 3 have fewer members, so they only need to get 1 ball to pass. This means, in the best-case scenario, 3 people will be eliminated. Everyone is getting excited about this competition. To give the students a bit of a head start, the teacher will enter the game 15 minutes later, so everyone should make good use of that precious time and run fast. Naito is about to say, "If there are no objections, let the game begin," but sure enough, Shiki speaks up. Shiki says he can't be on the same team as this pig wearing a mask. Naito doesn't care, but says, "If you want to leave the team, then you'll be expelled for the second time." Shiki gulps, realizing he's stuck, but at least there's a pretty pink-haired girl. Shiki, who's never had a girl initiate a conversation with him in years, is thrilled and loudly proclaims he'll protect Homare. She blushes slightly, then turns to greet the masked guy, Jin, but he says nothing, making her scared enough to cry and apologize. Seeing her cry, Shiki curses at Jin, then turns to comfort Homare. "Your face is too pretty to cry. You're much prettier when you smile." Jin finally opens his mouth and says, "You guys are gonna get eliminated anyway. Just get out of my way. Don't hold me back." Shiki replies that he has his own purpose and can't give up. Jin retorts, "Oh, so it's just some worthless goal, huh?" Shiki is furious, about to charge at him, but the teacher intervenes. "Alright, you two, stop it, or I'll expel you all right now. Team 1, move it." With that, the trio starts moving. Jin dashes off incredibly fast, and so does Shiki, but Homare is incredibly slow. While everyone else is preparing to move, Jin is already speeding ahead. In his mind, he recalls that if he can defeat the teacher, he'll graduate and be able to choose his team. This way, Jin can join the team he wants to meet someone. Suddenly, Shiki appears from behind, ambushing him. Shiki says he doesn't care about their petty squabbles, but since Jin called Shiki's goal worthless, Shiki wants Jin to take back his words. Jin scoffs, "Like I care, come on, try me." With that, he shows Shiki the large scars around his mouth. They look pretty nasty, but Shiki thinks only small fries show off their scars. Jin retorts, "Then you're not even as good as a small fry." Jin then unleashes his blood manifestation. From his arm, sharp saw blades quickly form. Shiki is stunned, seeing Jin manifest his blood so easily. He asks, "How did you do it so easily?" Jin tells Shiki, "If you're scared, then scram, run fast." But Shiki has never been one to run away scared. Besides, he thinks, "If I run now, wouldn't my old man have died for nothing?" Jin hears that and asks Shiki, "You're here to avenge your father, huh? If so, then we'll never get along. You chicken, you calling me a chicken? Let me show you." With that, Shiki bites his arm, trying to force out his weapon, but he struggles and can't. Jin says, "See, someone like you is just a waste of my time. Now pay the price." Shiki is frustrated. How did that dog do it so easily? Can't I just call it out with blood? Damn it, Shiki gives up. No demon blood. Fine, I'll use a wooden stick to beat you. The two hotheads charge at each other, and the obvious result is the wooden stick being cut in half by Jin. Meanwhile, the pink-haired Homare is wandering around looking for her teammates. She hears a loud noise and tries to investigate, but she trips and falls face first, then gets depressed, thinking she's useless. A moment later, trying to leave to find Shiki, she doesn't see the ball right behind her. The commotion from the fight also attracts the attention of the 4 members of teams 2 and 3. They're starting to realize this game is brutal. Back to the battle. Shiki is continuously getting clobbered by Jin. He takes hit after hit but tries to counterattack. However, Jin is simply on a different level. Shiki punches repeatedly but can't land a single hit. As he fights, he thinks about how Jin's weapon is also formed from blood. Just like the teacher's umbrella, Shiki begins to realize that the key to controlling blood might lie here. But it's still so confusing. Taking advantage of Shiki's contemplation, Jin delivers a powerful punch that flips Shiki over. Lying still on the ground, Shiki realizes this is the first time he's felt such an uncomfortable sense of not understanding something. Just as Jin thinks he's won and turns to leave, Shiki slowly gets up. Jin, enraged, attacks with his blood manifestation technique. Just then, Homare walks by. Shiki immediately plays the hero, saving the damsel in distress. Afterward, Homare slowly regains consciousness and sees Shiki arguing with Jin. She then notices the wounds on Shiki's body. On the other side, Jin pulls down his shirt, contemptuously telling the guys that he was holding back. Yet they're still terrified. What kind of fighters are you? Just quit school already. Shiki is furious, but the girl behind him is kneeling, continuously apologizing for causing Shiki's injuries. The girl seems emotionally fragile or overly emotional, leading to negativity, and suddenly, blood gushes out. It forms a giant body. To Shiki and Jin's astonishment, the giant demon roars as if it wants to protect Homare. They know that the blood volume of demons like Shiki or Jin is far greater than normal humans. But this much, like Homare, is something they've never seen before. Homare loses control and fearfully tells Shiki and Jin to run, or she will kill them. As soon as she finishes speaking, before they can run, it attacks. Meanwhile, the principal has met with Naito. He thinks Naito is being a bit too harsh for the first day. But Naito argues that instead of useless explanations and introductions, it's better to put them straight into practical combat. The principal understands. It's all for the students, isn't it? Every year, many demons are killed, mostly young ones, or if caught alive, they are taken for experiments. He pities those innocent, unconscious young demons who might one day have their lives threatened by the Momotaro. The principal only wishes they could find equality in heaven. Naito has a different perspective. He doesn't need heaven. Only strength can prevent one from being killed. With that, the principal hopes Naito will help the children. Then he leaves. Back to the students. Shiki and Jin are in trouble. Jin tries to cut it, but it's too big and doesn't do much damage. Shiki tries to reason with Homare. Hey, beautiful, do something. Can't you control that thing? Homare can only apologize and say, I can't do anything. Just leave me alone. You too. I'm passing out. Shiki tries to rush in and save the pretty girl. But the giant sister tries to protect Homare and doesn't let him get close. Jin stands by, wondering if blood can have its own will. Then, the sister spews a torrent of blood that wraps around the two boys. Homare tries to open her mouth and scream, Sister, no, please stop. Then she pleads with the two boys to run. I'm at my limit, but Shiki can't abandon her. If she keeps losing blood like this, she'll die. Seeing her suffering, Shiki is determined to protect her at all costs. The sister, as if not wanting her younger sibling to be courted by this brat, screams and unleashes a terrifying power, which can be felt even outside the testing area. From above, Naito has also noticed the problem, but he won't help. He'll just let them fight for fun. Shiki is still trying to manifest his weapon, but he just can't. He's sure the previous times were just luck. This time, he's screwed. Kid, the sister, attacks, throws dirt, and sends Shiki flying backward. At this point, Shiki's body is exhausted. He can't believe he's fighting so uselessly today. Essentially, he hasn't done anything. Furious that he can't do anything, he cries over his weakness. Jin approaches and says, Go home and cry. Kid, you're too weak. Jin coolly unleashes his blood manifestation again, taking on the sister. He has two saws in his hands, but their shapes are different. Naito has to admit that Jin has potential. That's an advanced technique and requires experience. However, demon blood is inherently free and can change shape and hardness. What forms in the mind sends signals to the brain, then through nerves and blood vessels to create the shape. So the shapes of special weapons can reflect deep psychological trauma, preferences, or what the individual controller wants to use. Each type of weapon formed is like a sketch of that person's life. Using blood to form a weapon is called blood manifestation. Jin rushes in to attack, trying to take down the demon, but it's not easy. It turns and punches Jin, giving him a hard time, while Shiki just stands and thinks. Suddenly, he realizes that Jin has only been creating saw blades to slash, while Homare's is that sister. So he connects it to what's familiar to him, his water guns back home. Besides, He created water guns in his 2 previous fights. While Shiki is thinking, Jin has been overwhelmed by the sister and lost his ability to resist. Just when Naito thinks the kids are at their limit, Shiki pulls out his combat gear. He unleashes his blood manifestation, pulling out an M4 rifle that looks incredibly badass. He tells Jin, "Your daddy's just starting to fight now." He quickly dodges a slap from the sister and fires a bullet, sending blood splattering everywhere. That destructive power leaves Jin and Naito speechless. Now they know what it's like to have hot goods in hand. Right?